Hi guys, today I want to talk about three very important things: predictions, paranoia, and preparedness. If you've been paying attention to the news at all, you'll notice things are kind of going to crap, because they are. No surprise there. If you pay attention to alternative news, things are really going to crap. And there's all this stuff about the blood moons and Mercury retrograde, and stuff is moving into Pluto and this, that, and the other. And I know a lot of people who are just going like, oh my god, what do we do, blah blah blah. It's not the end of the world, and even if it were, I probably wouldn't tell you, because who wants to know that? And that gets me to the point of, I don't really do predictions. For the most part, I only get predictions if it affects me, my family, or someone I know, and there's something I can do to change it. So whenever I get, and it mostly comes to me in dreams, whenever I get information like that, I usually sit on it for a day or two and try to, figure out what it all means. Because it's not like there's a sign that says the world is going to end September 15th, be prepared. Well, no, it's never that easy. And usually it works backwards. So I'll get the end result, and then it rewinds, and you got to figure out how you're supposed to avoid point A by changing point B, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I don't do predictions. I don't think it's safe, because even if you're 100% spot on, somebody's gonna want you. Whether it's the alphabet boys or some millionaire that wants you to fix the stocks for them. I don't do predictions. Yeah, I have a family. I'd like to keep everybody safe. But even if I did, let's say you're really good, okay? The problem with predictions is that everybody has free will. And all it takes is one or two people to change their minds, and things don't happen like they would have. There's a lot of stuff that gets avoided because, law enforcement or the alphabet boys step in and change things. And there's a lot of things that don't happen because the person that would have perpetrated the crime wisens up. Thank God, And we don't have any control over that. We just kind of get what we get and try to avoid the situation entirely. Gracious. Paranoia. We can choose to be paranoid. I mean, whenever I get a prediction and I don't understand it, it makes me extremely anxious, because, for instance, this is hysterical. My family is trying to throw me a surprise party, and I knew something was happening, and I hate surprises. Like, I really hate surprises because of this exactly. I knew something was happening, and I couldn't figure out what it was, and I was questioning everybody, and I'm like, I'm telling you, I got a bad feeling about something. This is the weirdest thing. This never happens to me, And finally, I got two people to crack, because they don't like seeing me be paranoid and anxious, but still, it's the surprise birthday thing. The things that make us anxious, we don't want to be anxious. We don't want to be stressed out. We don't want to be like, oh my god, what's supposed to happen? What am I supposed to do to stop it, No, nobody wants that. So, in order to get out of paranoid mode, we need to get into preparedness. Now, I'm sure everybody's heard all the crazy stuff about preppers and National Geographic, but September is actually, government-wide Preparedness Month. And preparedness is just, common sense. I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't have all the stuff that FEMA lists at your house, 3 days worth of food and water. Well, the kids mostly eat fruit and oatmeal for their breakfast, so if the power's out, like it is a lot, during the windstorms or winter and all that stuff, we have plenty of stuff, snacks and stuff on hand for them to have if the power's out. Dinner, a little more difficult, but you drag out the charcoal grill, and we usually have an extra bag of charcoal, so we'd be okay, Water. Not only water for us, but also for the chickens, for the dogs. That makes sense, especially, if the temperatures plummet, we have a well, so stuff freezes. It does, it sucks, it's crazy, So I keep, bottles of water, jugs of water, just to get us through a few days, because normally that's all it takes. heaven forbid our well went up, 10 grand later, no, bad news, bad news. So, that's common sense. Flashlights, weather radios, this, first aid kit. Where's our first aid kit? I mean, we're all notorious for hurting ourselves. We're farm people, okay? We do crazy stuff. And what else? I mean, these are just basic stuff. So when we have basic stuff, like I always try and keep my car kit with spare diapers for the kids, snacks for the kids. I always try and keep a few bottles of water in there. I mean, I know it's plastic or whatever, but I switch them out so it doesn't get too cancerous, but I'd rather have something than nothing. I always keep a few blankets in the car, and when the seasons switch, I make sure the kids have extra sweatshirts and socks and boots, and, me too. I make sure I always have a hoodie, extra gloves, that sort of thing. Keep a pretty comprehensive first aid kit in the car. The dogs have their own first aid kit. This is all pretty basic stuff, I mean, do you have fire alarms in your house? I hope so. You should. If you don't, call your local fire people. They get you some, like, for free, okay? What about fire extinguishers? How many fire extinguishers do you have? We have 2. I'd like to have more. We have one in the kitchen because most fires happen in the kitchen, from the stove, the oven, whatever, your toaster oven, so you should absolutely have a fire extinguisher in your kitchen. We also have one upstairs because, we don't really have a hose here, so we need something if something were to catch on fire. What else? I'd really like to have one in the chicken coop. That's important to me because, unfortunately, locally we've been having just a ton of farm fires, and it scares me. It really does. It does make me anxious. Every time I hear about it, I'm like, God, what would we do if that happened to us? And this is perfect, because what would you do if your house flooded? What would you do if your house caught on fire? Do you have 2 floors? They have these awesome little ladders, and I think it's, First Kid that makes them, and they hang out of a window, and it's just a cheesy little rope ladder, but it gets you from the 2nd story to the 1st story without having to jump out the window and break something. Perfect, right? We don't have bedrooms upstairs, but we will soon once the kids are big enough to navigate the stairs. What else? Just very simple common sense stuff. If you keep chemicals in your garage, like some people do, we really don't keep a lot, but I'd really like to have a fire extinguisher in there because, during the seasons we keep the gas for the lawnmowers and the weed whacker and all that jazz. I'd like to have one. We don't really keep much, stuff for our camping stuff anymore, but for a while there we had, fuel for our camp stove. And I'm pretty sure it's in the garage, but we don't have a lot of it now, but we used to stock it. And if you stock that, anywhere you stock flammable stuff, you should have a fire extinguisher nearby. Common sense. Now, to backtrack and bring it around, why is preparedness important? Preparedness is important because if we hear people make predictions that say, the world is going to end, or the banking system's going to collapse, or, the power is going to go out from an EMP, and, the Russians are going to invade us, and the Chinese are going to take over everything and jack up the prices. Well, you know what? You'd be a little more prepared. We keep, we have canned stuff, so we probably eat pretty well for a month, at least, if not longer, A bag of dog food lasts both dogs a month, and I try to always make sure I have 1 or 2 on hand, so we're covered there. Water, we'd probably run a little low on water, to be honest. I should probably get more water. But, batteries, we have a pretty decent amount of batteries for our flashlights. We always keep a little cash on hand. They tell you you're supposed to have like 2 grand. I don't even have 2 grand in my bank, okay? I'll leave it at that, yeah. I always try and have my emergency 50 in my wallet. When I'm really poor, I don't even have that. But, I always keep a few ones in my car armrest thing for when we stop at the Amish stand, because they don't really give change. You have to go and ask. So I always just try and keep an extra few ones to stop, get the chicken's lettuce, some zucchini, whatever. And if I had the cash, I would probably keep $500 in the house. Why $500? Because it's enough to get at least 2 nights at a hotel, honestly. And obviously if we all had to leave if there was a flood or something. We have 2 dogs, so we'd have to find a dog-friendly hotel. And I actually keep a list of the big names that are dog-friendly hotels. I think the Sheraton is one, and like there's a bunch of them, but our dogs, you know, aren't too big and they're not very rowdy, so they'd be well behaved. Also, we live by a nuclear power plant, so you know, I keep all of our important documents downstairs close to the door, because God forbid we should ever have to leave. But if we do, I at least have all the important stuff in there. If you don't live by a power plant, you know, you might live in the West. You might be affected by all the wildfires. You might be in Tornado Alley. You know, everyone has their own specific sets of natural disasters that affect them. Okay, and then there's the common sense things, like if you lose your job. Like, you know, I don't have steady work. So, you know, my weekly budgets are kind of conducive to whatever I'm making. So whenever I have extra money, I buy extra food. Why? Because I love to eat. I really, really do. I like food. I'm not good when I'm hungry at all. So heaven forbid something would happen and I were to lose one of my many crazy jobs. At least we have food. Okay. Do we have 3 years worth of food? No. Do we have a bunker in the basement? I wish. We don't even have a basement, you know, we have crawl space, which smells like something died in there. So yeah, I really should fix that. But, you know, people can make all these predictions and you'll feel better because you know, I have a month's worth of food. If we had to stretch it, yeah, a month's worth of food, you know, or if it took me a month to find a job, we would be okay. We'd manage, you know. We'd probably not use electricity a lot, but, you know, these are things that you have to do. What else? If you're prepared, it makes you less paranoid about predictions. That's the gist of it. And even though people make fun of the government for telling us crap, this is common sense stuff. I mean, we live in the country. The Amish are canning their fruits of their labor now so that they have it in winter when they can't grow anything. Common sense, right? Obviously, they're working on their tobacco crops, which, you know, the money from that probably carries them over. But I'm sure, you know, come February, March, times are getting a little tough, you know? And as much as friggin' propane is, times are tough for everyone after Christmas. Sorry, allergies from working outside. But if you were prepared, you don't have to worry, you know? It's like all these people when the snowstorms come, they go out, they buy milk and bread. Well, why don't you have milk and bread at home, dude? Pfft. You know, we go weekly grocery shopping for the basics. You know, yogurt for the kids, milk, bread, you know, cheese, lunch meat, fresh fruit when it's available, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, if for some reason we couldn't make it to the grocery store, say it was a huge storm, you know, I have flour and yeast and I could make my own bread, you know. We could actually literally trek to the neighbors and get milk from their cows. Lunch meat would be kind of screwed on, but, you know, we got lots of canned stuff. We'll manage. Spam. Ugh. No spam. Please, no spam. So this is really just common sense. I don't like people to be anxious, and everyone is saying crazy things. Yeah, crazy things are being said, and I'll just leave it at that. So if you feel anxious, find a way to feel more prepared so that that anxiety goes away. You know, go out, spend $50, buy canned stuff, buy dry goods. Why canned stuff and dry goods? Canned stuff because it lasts, you know, like 2 years. Dry goods because usually, you know, you can eat cereal without milk. It's a great snack. I mean, my kids love it. It's ridiculous how much they'll dive into, you know, a bunch of Poreos, generic Cheerios. We call them Poreos. But they're healthier, I swear. I'm not cheap. They're actually healthier if you look at the ingredients. Check out the generics. Save you $1 or $2. And there's a lot less sugar and corn syrup crap. What about, you know, the cheapy things? What about Spam? What about the dollar pesticides? I don't buy the crap that has a lot of sodium and a lot of fat. I don't. That's us. Okay, that's us. If you enjoy that stuff, dude, go stock up on Doritos. If that's, you know, what you like, buy it, dude. But I stock up on stuff that we don't need power to eat, because we will absolutely lose power for at least a week regularly come winter, okay? Regularly. And that's not just once, that happens a bunch. So I need to make sure that we have stuff that we can eat. So we have cereal, we have oatmeal, you know, we'll warm up some water, make some oatmeal for everybody, put in, you know, our fruit and stuff, and have Chef Boyardee for dinner as a treat, you know. Make our own bread. I got a sun oven. I do that a lot. We do brownies. Oh, sun oven brownies are the best. The best. But I don't have to worry about the power going out, because I know we're fine, because we've done it. We've done it before, you know. And what happens, you know, I think my worst fears are well going up, because I don't do a lot of water. I don't. But, you know, we have probably enough cash on hand to buy a tank of gas. 25 bucks, you know. Everyone should have at least 25 bucks on hand to buy a tank of gas. Now, you're going to have to find a gas station that has power. That's the trick. But yeah, I don't stress over people's predictions anymore, because I feel prepared, you know. Unless something absolutely catastrophic were to happen, I know we'd be okay. Yeah, it'd suck. I would go hungry. The kids would be fine. I would go hungry, but, you know, we manage. And we're lucky that in the area I made sure that we save so many native plant species. I mean, we have gosh, probably an acre total that I let grow wild. And, you know, I'll do my best to get out the poison oak and the poison ivy. But, you know, we have all the berries naturally. We have all sorts of edible greens. You know, the chickens love it. You know, that's where they free range. But that's, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. So if I were to lose a job, that'd suck. If I were to lose all my jobs, that would seriously suck. But we'd be able to survive for a month until I get a new one, you know. Other than that, yeah, if the world ends, the world ends. Hopefully I won't have to really worry about that. You know, it certainly makes me think about the refugees from Syria. It's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. I can't imagine, you know, being a refugee, especially with kids. I mean, gosh, my heart absolutely breaks. Absolutely. And God bless them getting to wherever they're going and whoever's taking them in. But, you know, you can't plan for that. You can't, you know. You do your best you can on the fly and hope that you have the life skills that you need to get it through. Other than that, I'm sure having a little cash on hand won't hurt, but, you know, it is what it is. So, don't be paranoid about predictions. I don't recommend making predictions. If you are going to make predictions, you know, put it in an envelope, seal it up, put the date, sign across the line. If it comes true, have somebody else open it, videotape it so you know, and keep track of your record, obviously. If you choose to put it out publicly on YouTube or whatever, you're probably going to get attacked every time you're wrong. You're probably going to get creepy messages every time you're right. But there's no need to be paranoid if you are prepared. All right. I love you guys. Please embrace September as Preparedness Month. The FEMA and all the emergency management for your states and counties have all sorts of fantastic free information. You can do printouts for first aid kits they recommend, for like dog first aid kits. They have, you know, lists of recommended foods, things that you should have in your house, you know, things that normal people have in their house. Just, you know, get a little kit together. Go to the dollar store, get one of those tubs, you know, keep extra work gloves and duct tape and, you know, whatever else they recommend in there. And really easy stuff. You don't have to spend a lot of money, and it really is all about peace of mind for me, you know. I hope we don't have any more natural disasters, because our area sure can't take it. But, you know, thinking about all the people in the wildfires and, gosh, the refugees. And it pays to be prepared and be lucky. So, God bless us all. We need it. Love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.